Board meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Supervisor Clayton.
Here.
Councilman Carini.
Yes.
Councilman Esposito.
I'm here.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Can we quiet down in the...
There we go.
Thank you. Councilwoman Miller. Here. Councilman Musgrove.
Madam Clerk, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes. Place your hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you please remain standing for a moment in silence for the former supervisor of the town of Hempstead, Joe Mondello, and former ambassador for the United States of America. Thank you all very, very much. Madam Clerk, would you please call the first public hearing?
Yes, we have a proposed local law regarding regulations and restrictions to limit parking in Merritt, Valley Stream, and One.
Any member of the board wish to be heard? Okay, I don't have any slips. Any member of the public did not sign in wishes to be heard on item number 1? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed before the adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller. Aye. Councilman Muscarelli.
Yes. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding parking or standing prohibitions in Baldwin, East Rockaway, Elmont, Franklin Square, Merritt, and Oceanside.
Any member of the board wish to be heard?
Montauk, excuse me.
I'm sorry. Any member of the board wish to be heard on this? I do not have any slips. Anybody who did not sign in wishes to be heard on item number 2? If not, may I please have a motion? I move that the public hearing be closed and the item adopted. Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Aye. Councilwoman Miller. Aye. Councilman Muscarelli.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding arterial stops in Elmont, Island Park, Levittown, Merritt, North Belmore, Oceanside, Seaford, South Hempstead, and Westbury.
Okay, member of the board wish to be heard on this? I don't have any slips. Any member of the public did not sign in wishes to be heard on this item only? Nope. If not, may I please have a motion?
Move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Aye. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarelli.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed handicap parking on public streets in Elmont, Franklin Square, Freeport, and Roosevelt.
Any member of the board wish to be heard? I do not have any slips on item number 4. Any member of the public did not sign in wishes to be heard on this item only? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the adopted.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Aye. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarelli.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding gross weight restrictions in Oceanside.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard on this? I do not have any slips. Anybody who did not sign in for item number 5 wishes to be heard? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarelli.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding real property in default registry.
Okay, member of the board wish to be heard on this? I do not have any slips. Anybody that signed in wishes to be heard on item number 6? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Hold on for one. I'd like to make a motion for a 2-minute break in the meeting. Before we take the vote. We have a second on that for a 2-minute break. Recess for 2 minutes. Town clerk.
Yes, let's hold the vote.
Yeah, let's hold the vote. 2-minute recess.
That's a bullshit default registry. They had a vacant property registry in the Centennial Administration, and then they have one with dilapidated houses registry. problem with those stupid laws is they violate property rights. And also, they actually, in the vacant property thing, they actually fine the landlord for not getting tenants. As if like, if I go to a Santino, I mean, I got a video, I go, what do you think, the landlord can't get a tenant, we're gonna start charging more than, I forgot what the fee was, $1,000 a month or whatever it was, or, you know. It says, how many, I don't know anyone any business person who operates that way, that intentionally doesn't want a tenant.
Right.
I mean, I have this building near me on White Park Road, bare carpet used to be. And it's been vacant for 20 years. When I was bringing my kids to Creek Cat, they weren't there. You know, my kids are now 21 and 18 and 19 years old. They've never seen the carpet store there. That carpet store was open for a brief period after I moved in 1998, maybe for 1 year, and then right open went under. I don't know how long it was there before that. But the idea that so I mean, what they did was they actually did, and then they were going to find the banks who had the mortgages on the properties. And the problem with that is, I go, are they allowed to enter the house to do repairs? And they're going to have to figure it out. He says, they're not allowed, it's not their property. They own the mortgage, but they're not allowed to enter it. They're trespassing. So you made a law that requires the bank to break a law. I says, how many and I talked about my neighbor who was a drug addict. I don't know if he was a dealer. I know his roommate was a dealer. After his father died, and he rented the house to this drug dealer. He says when they foreclosed on his property, he broke the walls. He broke the pipes because he was so mad. I remember I came home, paper all over I live on the dead end street, all over the floor. I'm picking up, it's all ripped in half, some of it's not. And it was a foreclosure notice, because they couldn't get to him, so they nailed it to the door. And when he got home, he ripped it apart. It says, meanwhile, you're blaming the bank. This guy is the one who foreclosed. He's the one who's not maintaining the property, and you're putting it on the bank to fix the house that they're not allowed to fix anyway. That says, how can you make a law that requires somebody to break a law? Right. In order to enforce? What do you think the banks want to have vacant property on their books? I mean, what do you think that's what they go into business for? I mean, Champion Mortgage was like an exception to that. They had a foreclosure department because they would just give money away and they just count, you know, when property values going up so they could foreclose. But most businesses don't operate in that manner.
Okay, can I get a motion on item number 6?
Good idea.
Adjourn number 6.
Again, there is now a motion to adjourn item number 6. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Oh, there was a second from Dennis Dunn.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Moskowitz.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have public hearings number 7 and 8. They are companion actions. We have the application of BP Products NA Incorporated to modify and amend certain declarations of covenants and restrictions dated January 14, 2009, and recorded in the Nassau County Clerk's Office on March 24, 2009, in LIBOR 12488, page 541, regarding the property situated in Merrick. The companion application of BP Products NA Incorporated also to modify an existing GSS approval which installs new concrete islands to reposition the 3 existing NPDs and install a new pump island canopy with 3 canopy signs and other associated site improvements in Merrick.
Good morning. If you identify yourself in the record, that'd be great.
Good morning, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. My appearance for the record, Chris Tartaglia from the firm High Point Engineering, address at 1860 Walt Whitman Road in Melville, New York. So just as a matter of housekeeping, everyone, Items number 7 and 8 are indeed companion applications. However, last week we submitted an amended plan package to the board, and we're simplifying the process today substantially. In that, item number 8, which I'll just do another quick read of what was included in item number 8, application to modify an existing GSS approval to install new concrete islands to reposition the 3 existing Mbds, install a new pump island canopy with 3 canopy signs and other associated site improvements. So those improvements have been omitted. They are no longer part of this application. They initially were when the application was filed, and as the application went through the review process, our client, BP Products North America, went back, took a look at the financials, and decided that they were no longer going to make those particular improvements to the property. However, being before the board, there was some other cleanup that needed to be done relative to legalization of the existing convenience store, which is what is before the board today in item number 7. And there were also a couple of other minor site improvements which are typically mandated by this board, which are also still included in the application. And if it pleases the board, I can just walk through what those items are, just so it's clear.
Yeah, if you would, please, thank you.
So as I indicated earlier, we're no longer making any improvements to the pump islands or changes to the number of pumps. We're no longer making any expansions inside the building for the convenience store. So what is proposed as far as site work goes is we are adding landscaping along the periphery of the site, where currently there is none, as is seen fairly well by the exhibit up on the screen there. So we're adding a 5-foot wide landscape area along the north and east boundaries of the property, which along the east side, most importantly, is the residential boundary. And we're adding an ADA parking stall, a handicap accessible parking stall, to the south side of the building, along with an ADA accessible walkway, providing access into both the building and the restroom. There are no other improvements proposed other than the installation of a chain link fence trash enclosure in the northeast corner of the property. Currently, the dumpster is just out and about without an enclosure. That's really the sum and substance of the improvements. We are before the county DPW, and they are also making us install some drainage improvements, which we are doing, but all of those are below ground, and of course will not be visible to any passers-by. That's really the sum and substance of the application, Mr. Supervisor. We're essentially keeping what's there, adding some landscaping, and legalizing the convenience store, which has been built for several years. Just as a side note, this application was before the board in a very similar substance and form, actually several times over the last 10 or 12 years, prior to BP's ownership of the site, for the exact same proposal, which was expanding the convenience store and adding canopies. Those applications were approved by the board, but permits were never secured.
Any member of the board have any questions right now? Sure.
You said northeast corner chain link for the dumpster.
Yes, sir.
Northeastern mine map shows it's closest to the houses.
Correct.
So the stench from the dumpster is going to go into the neighborhood.
Well, I don't think there is a stench. There's no food being sold at this premises. It's the 3 service bays are to remain, and the existing convenience store that's in there now, which only sells prepackaged takeout food items. There's no food preparation. I did speak with one of the residents, a woman named Linda, who is here in the room, and she did indicate that her main concern, which the town had already noted on their inspection, was the conditions of the fence along that easterly line, which indeed is in very, very poor shape. We have spoken to BP, and they will be replacing the entire length of fence along the residential lot line.
So
I don't believe that we
move that forward to the northwest corner, which is right up from Merrick Road. It'd be easier to dump the company to come pick up the garbage, and less noise for the community behind it. So, and who knows what time they're going to be there with the beeping and all of that. That would be a concern if it was my yard. And if you put kind of obscene. It would be visibly aesthetic. I'm pathetic. All these J's. And the other thing, another question. So that's a suggestion?
Yes, and let me answer that one first. Certainly, we can make that change if that pleases the board. We can move it up into where stall number 1 is located. And I guess just exchange the stall location for the traction closure and shield it with some bushes and curbing. I think we can make that happen.
Good. The second thing is, there's not going to be used cars sold there, and is there any thought of doing any kind of, no more workshops because you don't have garages, correct? It's a convenience store.
That's correct. Yes, and there will be no sales of used cars. I am aware, again, as a result of the building department's thorough inspection of the facility, that there are some unregistered vehicles that are on the property. And speaking with the operator, it turns out that many of those vehicles belong to a neighbor. And we had told that operator that he needs to get those off of that property immediately. I think the building department gave us 30 days. We have about 20 days left. I'm hoping they're all gone by the end of the week.
Okay, so taking care of one neighbor at the expense of the rest of the neighbors isn't...
Couldn't agree more.
Let me just see a few more things here. So the concrete that was messed up, you said you weren't going to do that improvement?
Yes, so with the drainage installation, the site will actually be fully repaved, both the asphalt and concrete.
So it's going to be improved?
Yeah, the pavement and concrete will be new. There will be new landscaping, so certainly aesthetically it will look better. There's just no change to the intensity, size, number of pumps, etc.
Oh, I misunderstood it then. Okay. That's, I thought you were going to leave it the way it was. Didn't make sense. Do we have anything? Mr. Supervisor, is there
Anything else?
anybody has any questions? No residents?
But no, there are a number of residents, or there are a couple of residents that have questions. Fielding others, if not, we'll go to the residents.
Let's go to residents.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Taglia, just give a number of residents here who'd like to give their opportunity here. Linda Palmieri?
Yes.
Item number 7?
Yes.
Yeah, please come to the back and identify yourself with the name and address. That'd be great. Thank you very much.
Hi, thank you so much for hearing me out. I really appreciate it.
If you just give me your name and address, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I live right behind, unfortunately, I live right behind the gas station. There's some space between my property and the back of the building, and people are defecating back there. I wish they would close the bathroom or something on the side of it. It's horrible. And they need a fence. And I'm glad he said he's not going to move the pumps, because God help us if, they make a mistake and there's an oil, going through the property. So I'm glad about that, but I really think that you should fix the fence. And the dumpster, I don't understand. You want to put it closer to Merrick Avenue?
Mr. Tangley, if you could maybe answer a question for it. The answer is?
Yes.
Yes.
A little bit closer, away from my fellow neighbor.
Yeah, away from the river.
As long as they're not moving anything and there's no chance for something bad to happen with the oil tanks underground, then I'm okay with it. All right, thank you.
By the way, and I would recommend if you take his card as well, that you have the contact information. He's in front of the town, and actually he's quite often very good with communicating with the residents in the area. Okay.
One more thing, it's very dirty, the gas station.
We're hoping that if things progress, then hopefully it will get cleaned up by a reputable company. All right.
And while we're at it, it's got to be maintained constantly, not just before the sale. We have to have you can have a landscaper do whatever the bushes are, to do the cleanup also. That must be done weekly for the neighbors, because they live there. And if you said something about the fencing wasn't going to be done, and she mentioned that it should be done. So can we address that real quick? Please, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Councilman. Yes, Linda and I spoke earlier, and she told me about the ne'er-do-wells behind the building. So one of the suggestions I had made is, indeed, we are putting an entirely new fence up. Actually, Linda's got a very beautiful PVC fence in her yard that we're going to maintain. But I think on either side of that, we're going to go ahead and propose all new PVC fence so that all the neighbors can benefit. As far as the folks going behind the building, I think there's a simple suggestion. When we put the fence up, we'll put 2 locking gates on either side of the back of that building as part of the fence installation, and that'll quell that. Hopefully that will also quell anybody who might be throwing things behind that fence or making a mess.
That's great. Thank you very much.
And then lastly, she mentioned bathrooms. The bathrooms, you're not going to close off the bathrooms.
Yeah, I think closing the bathrooms might exacerbate that problem, so certainly the bathroom is accessible from the outside. That would continue. I think as long as we close off that back area, they will use the restroom, not other places.
In addition, we should put in the contract that it will be maintained like on a cycle, some kind of cycle. There's always paper in there, it's always clean, it's not, you know, somebody opens the door and everybody in the neighborhood runs away. We don't need that there. So you'll have some kind of schedule for the maintenance of the bathrooms.
And we would welcome those items being entered in as covenants. As you know, as part of this approval process, there are covenants and restrictions imposed, and we certainly welcome those to be part of this application.
Thank you, ma'am, for coming, for bringing us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Barbara Lewis?
Yes, I got this.
Sure, if you just go to the back and give your name and address for the record, that'd be great. Thank you.
What? I think this will be over by 11:30.
Good morning, my name is Barbara Lewis, my husband Bill Lewis. We live at 795 Jerusalem Avenue, right next to the station. If I understand correctly, you're no longer putting a canopy with the fire prevention system in it?
That is correct from today's presentation.
Okay, that's a little bit of disappointment, because if there is a fire or any kind of, I mean, we're directly touching the same property. I was hoping that there would be some sort of fire prevention or explosion prevention installed since you're doing all of this. I understand this is an expensive proposition for all of you, but safety has been our concern for a very long time. I'm sure Linda as well has, there's constant oil and gas and everything going in there. We live with the smell of that, you know, for the wonderful high taxes that we pay. We also have the pleasure of the aroma of these fumes. If anything catches fire or there are fumes that ignite and there's no safety system in place, this is a concern. This is a concern for us, especially since we are, all of us, right there. Our homes are abutted against the station.
Mr. Tartaglia, can you respond to that?
Yes, fear not, there's already a fire suppression system in place over the pumps that's approved by the fire marshal and is tested on a biannual basis.
And is that under state law?
That's under, well, not state law, the state law changed, but county law, absolutely. Every gas station must have a fire suppression system that's functional. It's in place, has been tested, and is fully operational and safe. You're very welcome.
While you're there, on that same item, if you look at the map, there's bushes and the trees and everything end just before her property. Could you expand that so it will absorb some of the smell from the gas and the fumes that come out? Is there any way you could look into doing that?
Yes, so if we could just maybe take a quick look at the screen, if the technician could just zoom out a little bit. So there are, up in that corner, the top right corner on the screen, there are evergreens proposed there. They run to within 15 feet of the property line. As you may be aware, we can't put anything higher than 4 feet tall within 15 feet of a right-of-way line for sight lines, but there will indeed be lower evergreens all the way up to the sidewalk.
That'll absorb some of the smell that they're complaining about.
Yeah, and the new fence. The fence is actually the worst facing their property. There's going to be a new fence going in.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. I don't have any other slips for items number 7 or 8. Is there anybody who wishes to be heard on 7 or 8 that did not sign in? Okay. Mr. Tartaglia, any closing comments?
No, thank you for allowing us to appear today.
Okay, thank you very, very much. With that, can I have a motion, please?
Motion that we close the hearing and we reserve decision.
Second motion.
for clarification for the record, and Mr. Tartaglia, correct me if I'm wrong, but item number 8, that is completely withdrawn?
Yes, it just, Madam Clerk, just to confirm, so that involved the modifications to the pump islands, the installation of the canopy, and the installation of canopy signs. All of those are withdrawn.
Okay. So
All right, so the
so
item
the motion is just item on
on
item
number
7.
7.
Number 7, okay. Okay, can I get a second?
I second it.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Creedy.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Mastrella.
Aye.
Okay, Madam Clerk, would you please call the administrative calendar?
Yes, we have on the administrative calendar item 9 through 49. We also have a resolution of an emergency nature, which will approve the overall layout site plan submitted by RMB Development Consultants Incorporated on behalf of Oceanside Library in connection with building application 21-5675 for the construction of a 2-story library addition with basement, including an associated site improvements located on the north side of Fairview Avenue in Oceanside. And this will be item number 50.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. First, does any member of the board wish to speak or sever any of the administrative calendar? Okay, if not, I have a couple of slips. First, we'll start with Felix Ricacci. Good morning, Mr. Ricacci. Give me your name and address for the record.
Felix Ricacci, Franklin Square. On item 50, I just would like you to make sure that it gets uploaded to the website, the details of that resolution.
Okay.
Also, on number 40, what experience does Mr. Macaron have with municipal law?
Actually, Mr. Macaron has extensive experiences in practice for over 30 years, including not just municipal law, but the overall real estate law. His resume is impeccable. It's a great ability to bring him onto the town of Hempstead with that kind of background.
Okay, I mean, is his resume anywhere where we could look at it?
Mr. Ricacci, if you'd like some more details, I'll be happy to. But you're talking to a gentleman who's 30 years respected attorney in not only municipal, but real estate and other legal matters. It's a great addition here to the town, and I know we're excited about it.
The only question I'd like to ask Mr. Macaron, does he have a commitment to abide by all provisions of the public offices law?
Mr. Ricacci, obviously, Mr. Macaron is a highly regarded attorney. He'll abide by all the laws of New York State, so I have all the confidence in the world, and hopefully the town board does too with their vote.
Well, the town board hasn't been abiding by all laws of New York State, and especially the public offices law, but that's the only question I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ricacci. We appreciate it. Next, I have Bonnie Garone. Good morning. If you give me your name and address for the record.
Good morning, Bonnie Garone, Rockville Center. On item 23, I just have a question. It says that the request for bids was published in a widely read newspaper. I don't usually see that language in these resolutions. So can you tell us what the widely read newspaper was?
Ms. Brooks, if you could come on up and identify yourself, that'd be great. Thank you very much. Hey. How you doing?
My name is Katrina Brooks. I'm counsel for the Department of Planning and Economic Development. And the newspapers was Newsday and Long Island Business News.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brooks.
My second question is on item 38. Item 38 is for legal counsel and lobbying services, and the engagement letter says, quote, "Our engagement is to provide legal representation to the town of Hempstead, New York, in government relations and legal services matters." That's pretty general. Can you give us an idea of what this firm will be doing for the town?
Mr. Acting Town Attorney, for the next couple minutes.
Yes, actually, rather than narrow, I think it's broad, which is the way it was intended. We have numerous situations where we have to deal with the federal government. And as we all know, as individual consumers, citizens, it's become more and more difficult. And so there have been times that we've needed outside people to help with this, and that's the purpose of it.
And taking into account the ability of the bipartisan firm down in DC to actually now, with the potential of the significant funds coming out of the federal government to lobby on behalf of the town to make sure we get our proper resources in every single community of the town, we felt the need to seek this acquisition.
Now, that clarifies that they will be, I guess what you're saying is they'll be lobbying the federal.
Yeah, I mean, you look, they're about to pass whatever, billions of dollars, and we want to make sure the town and the residents, we get our fair share, so that's why we're retaining them.
Sure, that makes sense. But there's no beginning date or ending date on this, and it looks like it's a flat monthly fee, regardless of how many hours they spend on the town's behalf. Can you explain why that is?
Customarily, that's the way these firms work. When they're providing actually conventional legal services, like with a litigation or something like that, there would be a separate retainer and it would have hourly rates. On these lobbying kind of services and governmental advice, most of the firms do it on a monthly basis. And the town can terminate it at any time.
I see. And how did you choose this particular firm?
I think they're well known. They have a great reputation. I've looked at some different firms. I think, in fact, I know former Representative King is a member of the firm. He certainly knows a lot about what's going on and what will go on in town of Hempstead, having served on this board at one time.
And talk about a guy who's pretty bipartisan. I think it's a great asset to have down there with securing the funds to represent the largest township in America.
And Aaron King Sweeney as well is associated with this firm, is that correct?
I'm not certain. That may be something you know that I don't.
Yeah, maybe you know that I don't know about that.
Seriously? Okay, thank you.
Okay. I don't have any other slips in the administrative calendar. Does anybody didn't sign in wishes to be heard in the administrative calendar? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the administrative calendar entirety and including the error.
Second.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Carini. Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Goosby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarelli.
Aye.
Supervisor, I make the motion, we adjourn.
I second the motion.
Supervisor Clayton.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Goosby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarelli.
Aye.
I do want to, Mr. Ricacci, a note to you, I will ask them to upload that, the addendum to the administrative calendar. As is customary, we're going to stick around here. Joe, I know it's a little bright back there, careful with those sunglasses. It's customary down here at the town to listen to the residents. So with that, we have our public comment section, and we'll start with Philip Ricacci.
Felix Ricacci, Franklin Square.
Hi.
Freedom of Information law requires FOIL appeal information to be sent to the Committee on Open Government. Supervisor Clayton, this is not my opinion, this is the law. In particular, Section 89, paragraph 4A states, each agency shall immediately forward to the Committee on Open Government a copy of such appeal when received by the agency and the ensuing determination thereon. At the last meeting, you told Baldwin residents you believe in transparency. You were quoted in Newsday saying that you were big about being open and transparent. Well, the reason this provision was added to the Freedom of Information law was to monitor compliance with this law, whose purpose is transparency. And since you claim to be big on being open and transparent, residents should wonder why Supervisor Clavin opposes abiding by a law that improves transparency. At the last meeting, Mr. Clavin, you interrupted me while I was speaking. I was telling Acting Town Attorney Jack Lieber to follow the law and direct the town's FOIL appeals officer to send FOIL appeals to the Committee on Open Government. Mr. Liebert swore an oath to follow the law, not you, and the town attorney represents the town, not you. Supervisor Clavin, you've been coming here a long time, and you should realize that the speaking time during the miscellaneous section of the meeting belongs to the residents. You should know this since it's your rule. You interrupted me to tell me that you, the supervisor of the largest town in the country, does not want his town attorney to follow the law that improves transparency. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McCutcheon. It was a pleasure. Next, I have Ray O'Rourke. Good morning. If you just give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Supervisor. My name is Ray O'Rourke. My address is 3712 Tarpon Place in Seaford. Mr. Supervisor, Town Board, I've been living in Seaford for 5 years. I'd say for 4.5 of those years. When I'd come home, I'd make the right on Neptune off of Merrick. And it was like driving in third world country, so I was very upset. But then, about 6 months ago, I came home and I saw that they were working on the road, and they've done a great job. So to the extent that the town needs something to do, I'm not sure if it's a town road or if it's a county road. The road is great, it's like glass. I will rate it a 99 out of 100. The 1% why I'm not giving it 100 is why I'm here, obviously. When people come out of Neptune and you make that turn on Merrick, you can either go right or left. I'll go both ways. I'll drive both ways. But my point is that people often, when they make that right turn on Merrick, there's a car in front. It's not wide enough. And I'm sorry I didn't bring pictures. I took photographs. I didn't print them out. But when you make that right turn, it's almost like it's a lane and a half, and that car who's in front of you never knows where to position themselves. So what I've seen happen is I've seen neighbors fight with each other because they want people to move up a little bit, to move to the left, and to make that right turn in the morning, especially when people are on their way to work. I wasn't going to bother you guys with this, but then I saw something last week where somebody moved up too far to the left, and a bus that was coming off of Merrick, making the left turn, almost had a head-on collision. So I recognize that I'm describing this very quickly.
I get you.
Yeah, perhaps Councilman Carrini knows this is exactly what I'm talking about. It's a perfect road. If you just had a center line, it's the one part that's missing.
I get what you're saying. So why don't we do this? My Commissioner of Engineering is right there. He's going to follow me the name and address on the recommendation. We'll see what you do. Again, I know the road. I know exactly the kind of situation you're talking about. So he's going to follow up with you.
If I just had one road, the Neptune is perfect. It's just that when you go on the side streets, you make that left and right on Baby, right by the firehouse. I hope you guys can get to those roads as well. Typically my street, Terrapin. But the road is perfect. Just think that's enough.
I appreciate it. Like I said, my Commissioner for Engineering is going to follow up with you, okay? Thank you. Next, I have Aisha Demistorian, and I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Good morning, if you can name that just for the record.
Aisha Demosthenes. Hi, everyone. I'm here representing Lakeview. I'm here to discuss the cleanliness of the streets in Lakeview. I'm not certain if there is a routine cleaning, but town roads look awful. And I just feel very disheartened because we pay a lot of taxes, as many of us do that live here in Nassau County, and our roads are not being cleaned. I have to literally step over trash with my kids when we go for walks to the park. Another concern that I'd like to share is our pool, Harold's Walker Park. We were told that the basketball court was going to be done over. It hasn't been done over yet. We're halfway through the summer. And actually, this weekend is Lakeview Day, when there's a basketball tournament that happens every year. Come on out and support it, you're free. But our basketball court has not been repaved. Our pool, our lovely little pool in Harold Walker Park. There's a chain link fence around it that is decrepit and rusted. I'd like to know, when is that going to be changed? There's also a privacy screen around it, and then there's graffiti. But however, if you just go a few blocks up to Echo Park on Nassau Road, it is beautiful, pristine. You can see right through to the pool. I'm just wondering what's the difference between Harold Walker Park and Echo Park and why the same attention isn't given. Pinebrook Road and Champlain are town roads, and there are a lot of potholes that need to be repaired. I'd also like to know, what is the procedure for businesses? Because the businesses on Woodfield Road and Eagle Avenue, do not maintain their property. They have weeds growing up from the cracks on the sidewalks. There is trash around their property all the time. This is the Food Universe supermarket, the BP gas station, the Dominican hair salon, the 24-hour deli, Junior's driving auto school. None of these businesses maintain the cleanliness of their area, and it makes our neighborhood look trashy. And I would like for someone to speak on our behalf to these businesses, so that, similar to one of the board members was advocating for the cleanliness of the Merritt intersection, I would like for someone to advocate for us to make sure that our streets are clean. Because as people drive down Woodfield, which is the main artery through Lakeview, it looks awful. But as soon as you get to the other parts of West Hempstead, miraculously, it's beautiful. So I just want to urge someone to please speak up for us. Our roads need to be clean on a regular basis. Our streets need to be clean, and the businesses need to be held accountable. Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to say, I know our Parks Commissioner, Frank, will speak to you about the basketball courts and the ETA when that will be done. Frank, is that fair? And you'll talk to her about the pool as well, the concerns about the screen and anything else. And Deputy Supervisor?
Hi, thank you for coming. First of all, I know other people have come here, but we do not own Eagle Avenue or Woodfield Road. Those are county roads. And we have let them know that what you're saying now. You have a legislator, so I would advise you to write that person and let her know that you do need those streets done. We're fine, but it's not ours. We do have enough with what we're doing. Now, you talk about Champlain. I've been over there many times. There were some houses that were just atrocious. And to the point where I don't know how anybody stayed there without letting us know. But sometimes I just drive around when I'm over there, and they were really bad. So we've been working on that. I think you've noticed that 2 of them have come down. I think someone's here from buildings, right? Okay, would you come and explain to her what we have done and so forth? The follow-up, okay. Would you like to speak to them at the meeting?
That's your Deputy Supervisor. So the Parks Commission will talk to you about the ETA when the courts will be done, the basketball courts, the building department. But when it comes to the other streets, Commissioner Calarasi is here from the Highway Department, right there. He's going to follow up on the other streets to address the cleanliness and the sweeping that you're pointing out. Okay?
The businesses, who's responsible for making sure the businesses, is that a town issue?
The businesses really are supposed to do it themselves, and they're supposed to have the awareness and maintain and be, cooperative in the area.
Follow up with them though, because it's awful. Like,
we do have someone who can do that. We have Jerome who do it.
Who would you ever?
We have someone.
Jerome Martin is a deputy commissioner in the sanitation department, so we can ask him. Jerome's very effective. He can go up and down and talk to them about being good neighbors in the area. Absolutely. But the 3 commissioners are going to talk to you right now about your concerns in the area with the street sweeping, as well as the update on the park that you can have. All right? Okay. Thank you very, very much.
About when you had the library, I was over there at that time, and they were telling me about, they were so happy that we did do the floor, we've done the inside of that building. So we used a lot of money trying to get that done. As far as the fences are concerned, I agree with you. I don't like them either, and he has that on his list. So that will be taken care of, but we just used a lot of money already. They're trying to make sure that we get it where it should be. And he'll tell you the rest of it.
And we appreciate all the repairs and the upgrades that have been made, but it wouldn't be right if I didn't come to express the things that are still very concerning.
Well, that's okay.
And the way it looks and the cleanliness is a very big issue.
All right, that's okay.
Like I said, the 3 commissioners are going to talk to you right after the meeting, okay? I don't have any other slips. Does anybody who's not signed in wish to be heard? Yes, if you can go back to the mic, give your name and address, that'd be great. Thank you.
I did.
Okay, well, like I said, there we go. Your name and address, please.
Bonnie Garone, Rockville Center. 2 things. The first is just to follow up on the questions I've been asking since June. Are you now today able to tell us anything about the town's redistricting plans, whether the citizens will have input, whether there'll be a committee or a commission, or what your timeline is?
Your opportunity to be heard.
Excuse me, excuse me. The clock is still running. I stopped speaking, then it's still
It's public comment, even though you stop speaking, the clock doesn't stop running.
Even when you're speaking, the clock runs for me? Come on, you don't do that for everybody else. Do you have any answers on redistricting? Okay, that's enough. So my second thing is, I'm going to give you a hypothetical. Let's say you all were newly elected to a school board, and you learned that for years there had been serious and credible complaints about the local school, that students were not progressing. They were not moving on from, they were not learning, they were not moving on from the school to go on for further education or for good jobs. They basically weren't going on to live their best lives. And when you looked into it, you saw that it wasn't because of funding, because it was one of the best funded schools in the area, maybe the best. And you knew that you had some really good teachers who were really devoted to the kids, but there were others who couldn't care less and some who didn't even like kids. And then you looked further and you saw that the principal had a philosophy which was, you know, they pass, they fail, I don't care. They viewed the students basically as inventory. They come in to go out to sit and languish until they left. And the superintendent wasn't much better. Now, this concerned you as new school board members, and one of your members said, I know, we'll just send someone in to look around, and anecdotally, if they see a particularly bad situation, they'll tell us and we'll fix it. And you know what? To look like we're doing something, we'll replace one department. We'll replace maybe guidance. If this sounds familiar, it's because you know I'm talking about the Hempstead Animal Shelter. And if you want to make changes, I believe that what you need to do is start at the top. You need to decide what your philosophy is to let those animals be treated in a way that they can move on for their best lives. You need to change the management and the structure. You need to have a plan and a philosophy in mind. And I think all of the board members should be involved in that. And what you really should ask for is a report on all the things that can be improved.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate the hypothetical. Next, I'm going to call Wilhelmina Funderburg.
Right here.
Please, if you come out to the back and give your name and address for the record, that'd be great.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Oh no, it's still morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Wilhelmina Funderburg. I reside at 156 East Clinton Avenue in Roosevelt, 11575. I'm a little concerned about the lots on the corner of Greenwich, Nassau Road, East Clinton, and Nassau Road. They have to really do a little better by keeping them tidied up, because by the time they get there to tidy them up, they're really a lot of debris, and they're grown, and the grounds have grown up quite a bit. Also, I'd like to ask, they have blacktop from Park Avenue on East Clinton down to Wagner. Looks very, very good. Are they going to do Nassau Road on East Clinton up to Park Avenue, and if so, when?
Nassau Road is a county road.
I know, but I'm talking about East Clinton from Nassau to Park. Is that going to be done? Because they've done East Clinton from Park to Wagner.
I will point you out to our Commissioner of Engineering. He will follow up with you to take the roads and try and get you an answer on that.
Okay. The next thing is that I know that Nassau Road is a county road, but I would really appreciate if our village would get some assistance and those 18-wheelers being parked there constantly. I mean, this has been going on for some time. I spoke to the police department, I called, and nothing is being done.
No, I have to disagree with you there. Okay. We have Mr. Martin who comes there constantly. And the only thing is, he can't be there all the time. We have gotten laws written. They're not supposed to park there. We've had many of those trucks pulled away, and it cost them $5,000 when they come and pick them up. So that past the Sunday, they knew we weren't there Sunday. But they do it, and they've been doing it, and we want them to stop. And same thing has happened over there on the turnpike. So it's not that we have not done it. We find them, but they find a way when we're not there. So just let us know. I'll give you a number to call, so you let him know, and he'll be over. You know, even though Jerome, he works day and night. He does a great job.
because they were there Sunday. I don't know.
I know Sunday, I was there Sunday. He was there earlier Sunday, they weren't there.
Jerome Martin's our deputy in the sanitation department, and he'll camp out there overnight. He's really a great, great team player, so we'll follow up with that with you.
Okay, because I know they were there over the weekend, because let me tell you, I'm a night bug, and I get up and I drive around and I look, and they are there, okay?
They were there Sunday, but
They were there Sunday. I don't know what time you came, Councilwoman, and I'm not gonna argue with you, but I know they were there, because when I came from Mass, Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, they were there.
I got there about 3:30.
Okay, well, they had moved, because they were certainly there.
No,
Okay, I thank you very much.
I know they were there Sunday.
Yeah, they were there. Okay. So, and they're not supposed to be there. And another thing, the police, they pass right by those trucks. They don't do anything. And I'm just wondering why they don't ticket those trucks and make those trucks move. Because and I know that they would not be allowed in any other area except Roosevelt. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't have any other slips. Anybody who did not sign and wishes to be heard? If not, have a wonderful day. Take care.